name is Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga, and welcome to Business Talk. This is a business program, as the name entails, that helps both entrepreneurs who are already established and those that are aspiring to be in business. On this particular episode, which happens to be the very first episode of Business Talk, I will be featuring Head of Corporate Affairs from the National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA, who happens to be Mr. Kefas Sinyangwe, and he will be enlightening us on the fundamentals to do with social security. Don't go away.
To increase sales of your products and services, advertise on Comnet TV. Reach your clients and target markets directly and see your business grow. For special rates, you can contact our marketing department on
0955 664 305 or 0978 290 626. Camnet TV.
Not just another channel.
As promised earlier, I have in the studio with me Mr. Kefas Sinyangwe, who's Head Corporate Affairs at NAPSA, who will be giving us more details of what NAPSA is about and the questions that are most asked by the general public. We are here for you and we will be answering those questions. Thank you so much for joining us on Business Talk.
Thank you very much, Liseli.
Unfortunately, I can't shake your hand due to our new normal.
Yeah, that's understood. Obviously, we have to keep up that, and probably this should be our standard going forward. What do you think?
I'm Lozi, so that's a culture that we already practice, so it's nothing new to me. We just clap our hands.
I've got to adapt to that.
Yes, first things first, why was NAPSA created?
Okay, thanks a lot, Liseli. Once again, NAPSA is actually, first of all, I want to emphasize from the word go, that it's a very important institution in the life of every Zambian. The reason that is so is because this institution was created to come in when you least expect that incident that happens. For example, when you are working, you don't realize sometimes that you get old, by the time you retire, and your income will just disappear from nowhere. What happens thereafter? Then you realize that there's some institution that is very key to that. That is NAPSA, which comes in to replace your income at that point. And also, as you are working, there are instances that happen when you probably get injured at work, or you get sick in such a way that you may not go back to work, normal work. What happens thereafter? Your income dwindles, you don't have maybe even anybody to help you. What happens? NAPSA comes through for you. And also, you know that in our culture, people tend to look after family members. You know, we still have the extended family system in existence. So you find that maybe one person who is working is supporting a lot of people. What happens with that when that one person passes on? Sometimes families get into destitution. But when you are a member of NAPSA, that doesn't happen because the NAPSA comes in. So basically what I'm trying to say is this is very important because it addresses one very fundamental human right, and that's the right to social security, the life to live in a dignified life, the right to live a dignified life as a person who has done something in your life, you've worked and you reach a stage where you are not able to earn that living. NAPSA comes in to safeguard that human right, and it's actually even part of the UN Declaration of Human Rights, as Article number 22, if I'm not mistaken. It guarantees you the right to social security. So we're here to provide social security.
I know you've talked about a number of things, but one thing that has popped out from our talk is social security. I know there's somebody out there who's wondering and asking, say, what exactly is social security?
Yeah, so social security comes in different forms and it carries a number of faces. People sometimes hear about Farmer Input Support Program, and little do they realize that that's a government social security program to help in terms of poverty alleviation. People hear about free under 5. for children. Little do people realize that's part of social security
I didn't know
program.
that.
Yes, because social security encompasses a lot of things. It covers the life cycle of a human being. Even at pregnancy, the maternity leave that you get is part of the social security program, because that is the beginning of life. So government begins to look after your life from the day you are conceived. When you are born as a little child under 5, there's free primary education. You don't realize that's part of the government social security program. And then as you grow, you start work. There are certain benefits that you enjoy. As you work, you retire, or there are those other instances that I've mentioned where you get injured, and ultimately you die. That's another aspect of social security now that NAPSA takes care of. So for us, we are looking at providing that income replacement for those people who have lost their income that they would ordinarily earn from their employment. Okay, so that is very important. So it's social security is that broad social program that the government undertakes or countries undertake, and the social security we are talking about here, it takes care of that aspect of income replacement for those who have been working for different categories of employees, basically.
It's quite diverse.
Yes.
Okay. So then, who is eligible to which category of workers are eligible to actually contribute towards NAPSA?
Okay, very, very important.
Yes.
Because out there, some people might think that no, maybe me, I don't have a right to belong to a social security institution. Some people will tell you that it's only those who are working in offices who can contribute to NAPSA.
Who are wearing suits like you?
Well, this program cuts across, and in fact, it plainly put, this is a right to everyone who is working and earning an income, so that when they actually retire or any of the other instances happen, they can get that income replacement. So, in terms of who is eligible, it's all those who are working in formal employment, like you and me. It's all those students who are on attachment and they are getting an allowance or a wage or whatever it is they would call it, that they are also supposed to be registered. It's all those construction workers. It's all those who are employed. For example, you have a taxi, you employ somebody as a taxi driver, you are supposed to register them. If you have a domestic worker, you are supposed to register them. If you, in the case of doctors, for example, you find doctors working in this hospital, they work in the other hospital, maybe they work for 4 hospitals. If you are earning income from 4 sources like that, all the 4 employers are supposed to register. So basically, it's all those kind of categories of employees. The only ones that are exempted from being members of NAPSA are, first of all, those who are underage. We don't promote underage employment.
Yes.
And those who are above the retirement age, which is 65. So those cannot be members. Once you have been a member of NAPSA and you have collected your benefits, you can't come back to the scheme. And then the other people that are not eligible are those civil servants who joined who started work before 1st February 2000. Those, they belong to a different public scheme, the pension scheme. But all those public servants or civil servants who joined employment after 1st February, they all belong to NAPSA. And then the other exempt category of employees from belonging to NAPSA are the people at the armed forces. Those who are in the armed forces, they belong to a different public pension scheme. So you find that most of the other workers, or let me say all the other workers that are not in the list of those exempted, all these are supposed to belong to NAPSA. So if you have a guard at home whom you are paying a salary for guarding him, you are supposed to register them with NAPSA. If you are working at the market, you have employed someone to help you in your business, you're supposed to register them with NAPSA. So wherever there is an employee-employer relationship, that has to be formalized with NAPSA. So as a person who is working, you have to make sure that you are registered with NAPSA. Of course, the registration is a mandate of the employer. The employer is mandated to register the employee with NAPSA. But as an employee, you should take an interest to make sure that the employer has registered you. Because if they don't, the person who stands to lose out is you, the employee.
Okay. Perhaps you can highlight some of the benefits of actually contributing to NAPSA.
Yeah. So some of the benefits I've already alluded to,
Yes.
but first of all, what is the core mandate? It's to pay you a benefit. So when you are working, you reach your retirement age. That's when we kick in to put you on a retirement pension. You start getting a salary for life. Okay, that is one of the benefits. The second benefit is when you are working, in case you get injured or you get sick, and the medical board certifies that you're not able to earn an income, then we put you on an invalidity pension, and you start getting pension for life. And the other instance is in case of death, when you are contributing to NAPSA, as a breadwinner, you die, we come in to pay the surviving members of the family. So those are the three major benefits that are paid. But in addition to that, and related to the final benefits that I spoke about, which is the death benefit, there is also a funeral grant that we give to the family of the deceased to basically support with the funeral arrangements. But the amount is such that it's significant and it can be used as a head start for the family, not to go into destitution, because we're talking about 10% of the minimum wage, which is an amount that the family can actually use to even start a business, so that the family, in case there is any other income, they are able to still continue with a normal life.
So what are some of the key things that a person that is contributing to NAPSA should know while they're still in employment?
And Lisa, that's probably the most important question that I would like to address at this point, because what we've realized is there are a lot of members who are not paying so much attention to the issues of pension. Some people come when they are maybe 1 year to retire. That's when they start asking how much they have saved with NAPSA, or if actually all their employers were paying their contributions. Because remember, your benefit is related to your contributions. So what you put in determines what you take out. So as a member, first of all, you should understand that this is your right. This is your basic right, and you should claim it. And so how do you make sure that you enjoy this right? Today, while you are still working, make sure whichever employer you are working for has registered you with NAPSA, and they are actually remitting contributions, correct amount of contributions every month, consistently and religiously so. Because in the absence of that, you realize that when it comes to claiming benefits, you probably have missing contributions, and then you start running around, and then one of the companies that you worked for has even closed down. It becomes a little bit of a problem, because now the process of recovering money can be lengthy, and it can cause some delays in us paying your benefits, and ultimately that affects you as a member, because at that point what you want is your benefit, and then you start running around to make sure you find this, you find that. And that's why as NAPSA we have introduced systems, online platforms, mobile platforms that make it very easy for our members to even check their statements, their contributions, wherever they are. You can be sitting at home, just dial *677 from your phone, and you are able to follow the steps there, and you are able to see your statement from when you started working. You are able to see whether all your employers have remitted all the contributions. If they find that maybe some employers have not remitted all the contributions, you can quickly alert us to say this employer has not remitted. Or you can even be following it up on a month-to-month basis, where you find that maybe this month you have not received your contribution. You alert us to say this employer is not remitting. By doing that, you make sure that all your records are correct, all your children's names are there, your spouses are all registered, and when you come to claim your benefit, it will be very quick for us. We are promising that we should be able to do that even within 7 days or 14 days. Now, it becomes problematic when all the details are not correct and all that. We do have inspectors, of course, who visit different companies to just check on their compliance status and things like that. But we are calling on all employees, everybody, all the members of society who are in an employment relationship with any employer, to make sure that they get interested in their pension today. we've heard some people talk about, no, I want to get money so that in my pension so that I build a house. But the question is, what is the purpose of the pension? Is a pension meant for building a house? Is a pension meant for buying a big project? A pension is there meant to sustain you for the rest of your life so that you do not fall below a certain level of lifestyle. So it's very important that today you even get to understand how much you have saved with NAPSA, and you are able to say, okay, with this I can do this, or I probably won't have enough, or I'll have enough for my life, or I need to invest a little bit more in this, and things like that. It helps you to plan when you understand your financial picture. It's very important for our members to do that.
Okay. Lastly, I know you've talked about a number of issues, but I know there's somebody out there that is wondering to say, yes, I am in formal employment, I don't have a social security number. Is it possible for me to just walk right through the doors of NAPSA and have myself registered so that I can give that social security number to my employer and they start remitting?
Okay, you've asked a very important question on self-registration. So what is happening is, even under the current NAPSA, we have that opportunity for a person, even a marketeer or anybody, to be able to register themselves. So under the current system, you need to register yourself as an employer and employee at the same time, and remit contributions for yourself every month. So that possibility is there. So nothing stops you from doing that. But also, most importantly, last year the Minister of Labour did sign a statutory instrument that is aimed at giving us more leverage to bring on board more members of the informal sector, because we realize that most members of the informal sector are self-employed. So to make it easy for them to be able to access social security products and services, that statutory instrument actually enables members to register themselves easily, and they have a set of benefits that even a broader set of benefits that they'll be able to enjoy. So we'll be rolling out this in the very nearest future to all informal sector players, as we are currently actually undertaking a pilot to see how this works and where we can make it better and things like that. But that will be a game changer even for our colleagues in the informal sector, which is in fact the biggest sector in the economy, because they constitute more than 80% of the employees of this country. So it's a very important economic sector, and yet they do not have social security products extended to them. So that program will be a very important program, and will be a game changer in terms of just promoting social security and inclusiveness in line with the government's agenda of development without leaving anyone behind. So as we drive forward with the current NAPSA, there are a lot of efforts being put in place to ensure that we bring on board even members of the informal sector. Currently we have over 33,000 members of the informal sector that were registered as of 31st December 2019, and we hope to even increase on that number as we roll out this new benefit package that is intended for the informal sector.
Your closing remarks, Mr. Snyama.
I would like to once again speak to my fellow members, the employees. Very often we have heard of people saying, I'm getting a small salary, why should I even contribute to NAPSA? I'll tell you, in this country, our savings culture is very bad. If you took 10 people and asked of those 10 people how many have any savings in the bank for their retirement, believe you me, you get probably 1 or 0. And that is how bad our savings culture is. So now imagine where you actually don't have anything and you go into retirement and you reach old age and you don't have any income. That's where now you start hearing those sayings of and then you're moving from one house to the other house, and some people end up, those are the old people you find sometimes as security guards, working as a security guard to get very little amount of money. As you are working today, get interested in your pension or how you will live after retirement. ask your employer where they have registered with you. You should know your social security number. In fact, that is your identification as being registered with NAPSA. You should know the social security number. And after that, you should get interested that your employer is remitting contributions every month. And for you to know that, you can either check with NAPSA, walk into any NAPSA office, you can call us. But most importantly, make use of our online platforms, or mobile platforms. Using any phone, you can dial *677# or you can download the mobile application, and you are able to check everything on your phone. But for you to do that, you should have registered your number with us. Your phone number must be in our database. So if you try to check on *677# and it's not working, it's probably that your number is not with us. So make sure you update your details with NAPSA so that you are even able to get monthly notifications from us. And if you want to communicate with you directly, we are able to communicate through SMS and things like that. Then you know that your future is secured, because this institution is caring and ensuring that we safeguard your well-being as a member. But we need to work together to achieve that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sinyango, for making time to be with us on Business Talk. This interview has been very enlightening.
Thank you very much, Kisima.
It's an honor. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Head of Corporate Affairs from the National Pension Scheme Authority, Mr. Cephas Sinyango. And I hope, like I did, you too were enlightened about some fundamentals on social security that is, which happens to be a basic human right. We take a break, and do join me for another segment.
To increase sales of your products and services, advertise on Comnet TV. Reach your clients and target markets directly and see your business grow. For special rates, you can contact our marketing department on
0955 664 305 or 0978 290 626. Camnet TV.
not just another channel.
My name is Ian Given-Ngube. A Zambian born. I grew up in rural Zambia, where I went to primary school, and from there went to boarding school in Central Province at a school called St. Paul's. I then moved from there to DK, or David Kaunda, where I did my grade 10 to grade 12. I always had a passion for finance, and I got this largely from two people in my life. My father used to talk to me about it, and there is a cousin in the family, Mr. Sivindi, who took up a successful career in accounting. My early influences were largely from my father. I am grateful to him for the privilege of the mentorship that he did. He invested his time to speak into my life, and I think that set me on a course. He defined for me a life that back in the village I could not envisage, but he laid it out clear and bare for me. And as I grew up, I realized that I had a clearer picture of what he'd always wanted me to be. And so fast forward from school, I straight away went into accountancy college, where I trained, and I took the ACCA because I wanted to grow up to be an auditor. My first job was at ZRA, where I was there for a year, and at the time I got an opportunity to join KPMG as a trainee, and I think that's where my career really took the path that is taken. I sat and was mentored by very able-bodied men at KPMG, and after 2 years, I moved on to join a law firm called MNB as the accountant, and I rose there to the position of head of finance. And afterwards, I took up a position in a small practice called MKM, where I was an associate partner. And then from there, I was there for about 6 months, and I moved out to set up what then was CMI. CMI was a brainchild of mine that I had for a long time. And I set out to do a practice that would be different. I set out to save clients in a manner that they were not being served by the practitioners in the space. And long story short, it's been 8 years. We celebrated our 8th anniversary on the 4th of June. And when you look back, the last 8 years have been challenging, but very exciting. There were times when I questioned myself whether indeed taking up a full-time job is something that I should not go back to. But many a time I got encouraged from my wife, who was always by my side, and she always spoke to me and encouraged me that I could keep going. And indeed, I have kept going. We, on the path of our growth, we set out to service the market with excellence. And basically, we set out to say we wanted to offer a service to our clients that exceeded their expectations. And because of our dedication, coming off with a team of 8 at the beginning, 8 rookies, I like to call them. These were mainly 8 trainees, with me leading them in 2012. We now sit at a comfortable 46 headcount of professionals running what is now RSM Zambia. We became RSM in 2019, late last year, after we'd attracted the interest of a world-class network of accounting firms. You may wish to know that RSM is the 6th largest international network of accountants, and it's been a privilege to be admitted into RSM. And our admission was down to the dedication and passion with which we served our clients. So when you look at the journey that we've moved from a non-entity in 2012 to a world-class service provider in 2020, I'll put it down to 2 things really: dedication and passion. We have had to be passionate about the service we offer, and that rubs off on all the people that interact with us. That rubs off on our clients. We believe that our clients are entitled to an exceptional service. And because of that, our growth has mainly been fueled by happy clients recommending us to other clients. When you look at the journey that we've undertaken over the last 8 years, it's been full of ups and downs. And I would speak about some of the downs that we had. I think the lowest moment that we had, speaking for me as the man steering the ship, is in sometime in 2018, when an attempted partnership failed, and the separation from that partnership took away a lot from us, from our growth momentum. But we've kept resilient. We kept our eyes on the ball, and I would say that we are past the worst. My encouragement to people that look to set out in business, and business in whatever form, is that it's never easy. What people see usually is that they see the glamour and the glory of you driving a nice car, of you perhaps living in a nice house, of you seemingly looking like you have it all together. But most of the time, for a business person, they will tell you that they are playing a balancing act. At every time, there is a crisis that's going on. And the secret to getting ahead is that you need to have a broader outlook at life. No crisis lasts forever, and no glory lasts forever. So when you are at the peak, you always need to prepare for a day when the wheels will come off the track. And when the wheels have come off the track, you need to accept that moment as a moment for you to fix the wheels back to the track and keep going. There is no situation in business that is permanent. How do you, as a business person, keep going even when everything else is failing? I mean, we have, for instance, the situation of this year where when we opened the year, we all had very exciting projections about what the year 2020 brings to us. But here we are. We have had a period of almost 3 months of no production. And you see, we feel it. We advise a myriad of clients here. Our clients range from SMEs right through to the huge multinational corporations. And we can tell you, I can tell you in confidence that all of them are feeling the brunt of COVID-19 at different levels. But the bottom line is everybody's affected. So what do you do as a business person? This is where now you have to dig in deep. And dig in deep within yourself, dig in deep in your network, dig in deep in your confidence in your business model. You have to be able to take the necessary decisions to be able to see the business move forward and survive whatever turbulence that may come along. And right now, the buzzword that would be going around would be around saying, how do we survive COVID-19? And I would say that there's a lot of strategies that people are putting out there. For each business person and for each business, our advice is, you know your model very well. You know the excesses that you have. We've come into the linears. And to survive these linears, you have to optimize your business. You have to optimize your cost base. You have to ensure that you are resilient in your model to ensure that you are able to navigate the today and you are there tomorrow. Otherwise, there will be businesses that will be casualties. So this requires for courageous leadership. Courageous leadership in that there are some decisions that as business owners and business leaders, you have to make. They might not be famous, they might not be popular, but they need to be made. And sometimes you might have a Jonah in the boat. It's time to throw them overboard. It might be painful, but it's absolutely necessary. To the upcoming young business people, my advice, my word of advice is that business is not a venture you undertake for short-term success. You have to understand that it is a process. And as a process, I would perhaps liken it to somebody who plants an orchard. You don't plant your orchard of oranges today and go in tomorrow to go and look for a harvest of oranges. You have to go through the many years of watering, pruning, and tendering your plants to get them to be productive. So there's a sacrifice to be paid, and it's a big sacrifice. There will be a lot of lean years before you can harvest. It goes through the processes of you planting, you watering, you pruning, you ensuring that you've kept your garden looked after. And if you do, when the time to harvest comes, there's no need to actually go and tell your plants to produce. They will naturally produce. So in the Zambian young entrepreneurs, what we want to see, we would like to see original Zambian-owned enterprises coming up. If there's anything that COVID-19 has taught me, it's that we have to have resilient businesses. When you check the statistics on Zambia, you will find that over 80% of the productive or employable workforce or manpower is engaged in the informal sector. And it's been so for a very long time. A bigger chunk of the productive part of our population is engaged in the informal sector. We then need to be deliberate about nurturing and growing this informal sector to become a meaningful contributor to our national wealth. Otherwise, we will continue to be a country that struggles with creating sustainable jobs, creating sustainable livelihood for our people. So what we need is, we need a lot more young people coming up, and we need a lot more young people embracing the challenge that you can begin. And it really doesn't matter where you begin from. You can begin where you are. And if you are disciplined and dedicated, one day at a time, whatever you do counts in the end. You might not see immediately that you are making an impact, but in fact, you realize over time that you are getting better in every sense of the word. So invest in yourself, invest in your network, invest among the people that surround you. There must be people that are cheering you on. There must be people that support you. There must be people that are able to give you a push. So check the relationships that you create. They matter. I've had to lean on a number of relationships that I've created. When my chips were low, there were people that I called upon and said, look, I just need to bounce off an idea from you and perhaps validate whether I'm thinking right or I'm not thinking right. Or indeed, when things were not going right, there are people I ran to and they were there to just, encourage me and say, look, you have to keep going. So it can be a lonely path, but it need not be lonely. It need not be lonely because there's a lot other people out there that are with you in the struggle. There's a lot more other people there that are going through the same path as you're doing. So that's me in my former life. When you find me over the weekends, I'm a father. I have 3 beautiful kids. I'm married to a beautiful wife. I love to spend a lot of my time with them. When I'm not here thinking what next, one of my favorite pastimes is that I am an active player of squash. I play professionally for my club. I also love farming, so I take time to go out in the farms and tend to some crops here and there. I find that very refreshing. I do hope that somebody would get an encouragement from my my brief sharing.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mr. Ngluwe, who told us that in business it is important to note that there are winning seasons and there are cold seasons, but what's important is never to give up. We move on to our next segment, where we'll be featuring a woman who made it against the odds, who made her reality a dream, and thereafter we move on to what's trending.
Business yanji naambire mu 2003 lero natampire business naambire na mabanana na apples naisamba okubika pone ifine fitumbua paka naambo okwanisha kusambirisha abana na kunaisa shitakona ka plot na kuulako. First born yalina 25 years alikuli bu priest. Last born ali mu grade 3. Efo na yambire business na mwana kwa ati tapali phone ngati time shasa mbirira. So tapali phone ngati toko batinde ikalafye. Libinga na yambo kushitisha kuti na survivor abana bandi kuti basambirira family yanzi kuti aikala bwi. Chalengero kuti nyambe business na mbiro kwa wana mbire mapozi mabanana na isa mono kwa sitamuli profit sana. So funa shiresha kwa fitumbo afyambo kulampira profit. Funa apitilishe ne fitumbo na aleka mabanana afyonse na aleka na apitilisha fitumbo. Chale mpera profit na listamwe fintu ifingi sana. Abana bandi balasambirira. Na kula moni nganda. Fintu ifingi fyonchili fyonde chitafuti. Na shitamona famu. Nalichinja po press na ambire panipa pale pa gate. Nashtishe po 6 years. Pano nalisaluishako bale tushupa kunu maso. Nalisaluishako ka license after na kuataka. Ama problems ali po fe bale tushupa kwa chituwa wami hapo. Pale monika kubwino. Bati pali ino shitate tulakwate MPA shako yachininga wami bwino bati bala tushupa kufira feninga baisa. Pale faika pale monika bwino kai pale sabantu abapusana. So leso mininga pala twala wami hapo kala monika bwino no kubika pot puna esa abantu bale fo kwikala bashita bayikala baledia pano mfika na 6 states kunganda njimana 0430 kanjikala okutali kanafika pano kwamba kupanga flour ya madondo ya masamusa ya mafritas amba no kupanga ifaika 67 hours ni shinafyambo. So nde bakobana mayo baraba ikalafye kwe batina bena kutibi bala ikoseresha obunangani tabwawa ma okubomba takwashu pakapto tayashu peili yonse yo kweten capital wambo kuikoseresha mle afwana mukuchite fintu fimo so emuntu ngore ikalafi panga nde fintu filaba kwati nafi kukosera batingana ukosa kula mwana kwati tapali nechupire business kukwata fye umutimo wako shupa.
Never Laxon Mwanza. I'm a welder. Tuko na challenge ya Zesco wanaikira mtengo. So challenge ikulu yanetupezeka nayo ni yakuti ma customers ngati babwela si bonse bakwanisa mitengo zokula ma product yatu benangu abwana mtengo zingono zokula ma product sepezeka ngati bakulisa ija katundu wala market profit yanetupezamo ni ngono because of malite wanaikira.
From welders my issue ya malite yako kuti ma tariff ya nadula ya tishita ku affect in terms of pricing. Kairi kuti balance we have to increase the price ya ma product ya tomanje ma client wavuti.
Challenge ni mozi chawe ka tariff kali high so to mitigate profit tivuti kaingani hand to mouth.
Yeah, it has affected us, in so many ways, such that they have increased, but us we can't increase, because when you increase, you lose out. So it has affected us a lot,
So tezopempa ku head of state kule ma pledges yanabwera yapanga sense but chosereko ku malite chiteko benefit nice kapena tingaone ko way forward.
These people, they need to do something, because to our business it's not fair. You can't be buying, 100 kwacha, 40 units. The government just to consider, spend so much on the power. This one here.
That particular segment brings us to the end of Business Talk. Do join me every Thursday at 20:45 hours for another exciting episode. This has been your presenter, Diseli Kanyanga Mubanga, on Camnet TV, not just another channel. God bless.